Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday morning to you. Welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. I do appreciate you being with me. I hope that you'll give careful thought to our appeal and to our request from yesterday morning. It would be so much appreciated, and it will help us to continue bringing you this kind of work. We need some new technology. We've got some great doors of opportunity. My Apple computer over there is like ancient, all sorts of problems. Anyway, so we are continuing our examination of the fact that in Matthew chapter 24, Jesus told his apostles, they will deliver you up to tribulation. Now, I need to make a point here that it's very, very important. Some people believe, and they go to Matthew chapter 24, and they try to find an absolutely strict chronological flow. Some have told me, now wait a minute, Don, you're talking about the Messianic woes here, and that's in verse 6 through 8. Pardon me, that would be the famines, earthquake, peril, famine, wars, rumors of wars. Those are the beginning of birth pangs. But Jesus says, then they shall deliver you up to tribulation. See, so that has to happen after the birth pangs. No, what we tend to forget is that Matthew is not strictly chronological. That's widely recognized by scholars. It's not something I've made up. Now let me illustrate that to you. Ask yourself the question, why would Jesus' disciples be delivered up to persecution? Why would they experience persecution before they ever preached the gospel? Because after all, it was when they preached the gospel, Mark chapter 13 makes clear, it was when they would preach the gospel that persecution would arise. Jesus said in John chapter 16, behold, I send you out as lambs before the wolves. Okay? In other words, the preaching would occur before the persecution. Now, by the way, I can't help but get ahead of myself just a little bit right here. In my book, Into All the World Then Comes the End, which I'll be offering another special on that in the upcoming weeks, I present a pattern that is found in the Olivet Discourse. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I can't help it. I love this pattern. In the Olivet Discourse, there is an alliterative pattern: preaching, persecution, power, parousia. Wow. As the disciples were going to go into all of the world preaching, they would be persecuted, but they would be given the miraculous power of the Holy Spirit. And then comes the parousia. Preaching, persecution, power, parousia. My point is, here in Matthew chapter 24 in the Olivet Discourse, is that the persecution would not happen prior to the Messianic woes. That persecution would be part of the Messianic woes, and that's clear in Romans chapter 8, 16 and following, where, once again, Paul tells them to rejoice that they are partakers of the sufferings of Christ. They're the children of God. They're waiting for the manifestation of the children of God. And they were experiencing, in the midst of that tribulation, in the midst of that suffering, in the midst of that persecution, they were experiencing the Messianic birth pains. So it was not, chronologically, it was not the wars, rumors of wars, famine, earthquake, and peril, and then persecution. No, the persecution was part and parcel of the birth pangs of Messiah. That would lead directly to, as I shared yesterday, the kingdom, the parousia, the judgment, and the resurrection. Now look, I develop all of that in this month's special for you. of this tremendous pattern that we find throughout the New Testament of the Messianic birth pains giving birth to the kingdom out of that tribulation. It is so important. Pardon me. It is so important to see this motif of suffering, tribulation, persecution, and the promise of the imminent vindication and glorification, the identification and the relief of that persecution within the first century. I said I'd get to all of this today, but I won't. Here I am. If I launch off into any more, this video is going to be really long, and so just simply let me make the following observation. I'm simply going to give you a list of verses. Here's your homework. Okay? Look up, read and study in context the following verses. Romans 8, 16 through 19. 2 Corinthians 4, 14 through 18. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, 5 through 10. Hebrews 10, 32 through 39. James 5, 6 through 10. 1 Peter 5 through 12. Revelation 6, 9 to 17. Revelation 17. All of these passages, and by the way, it's not even all of them. All of these passages present to us the motif of the first century church suffering, experiencing the messianic woes, experiencing the tribulation, living in the last days, and in every single one of these passages that I just cited, in every one of them, there is a statement of the imminent coming of the Lord in vindication, glorification, and relief from that suffering being experienced 2,000 years ago. Now don't forget, once again, I discuss all of this and a whole lot more in my book, We Shall Meet Him in the Air, The Wedding of the King of Kings. Not much time left to take advantage of the April 2019 monthly special. This book is regularly $23.95 plus $4.95 shipping. This month, the special price, $19.95 postpaid. That'll save you almost $10. Take advantage of this while you've still got time. All right, tomorrow, Wednesday, we're going to begin looking at these verses a little closer to see what they say in their context about the then ongoing persecution and the promise of that coming glorification, that coming vindication, that coming relief at the day of the Lord. You do not want to miss this. So I'll see you on the flip side.